All right. So we are here with Mr. Mel Carmine, and we're going to do a little different show tonight. Mel is always supercharged with XRP and Nessera, Gessera, and all of that stuff, which is what we're here for. But we thought it would be kind of cool to, go back in time, so to speak, and see what makes Mel tick. Where did he come from? Those kind of questions. Thought the group would be kind of find it hopefully cool, and we'll see what's going on in Mel's mind. So I guess, as I've watched your videos, Mel, I've heard you talk about things here and there, just dropping little hints of your past and things you did and the pizza shops and that sort of thing. But let's start it first, going all the way back to Italy, because I think you said you were born in Sicily, right?
Yes.
So how was that? Brothers, sisters, family? Explain that situation.
Well, I was born on the island of Sicily. At a very early age, we moved to northern Italy because my mom was always terrified of, the mafia, because she realized that there was really not a lot of opportunity in Sicily, and it's true still today. And so she slowly but surely, I was actually supposed to be born in Argentina. If we would have gotten the passage to go to Argentina back in 1962, I believe, or 61, my mom and dad were freshly, married.
Right.
So that means I would have been speaking like a really weird Spanish because the Argentines really speak a very different kind of Spanish, but very understandable though, very clear. Unlike the Spanish we speak here, boy. Yeah.
Right.
So, but then we moved to northern Italy, and some of my cousins and some of my relatives were involved with different things and whatever. And so my mom one day, she just called her brother out of the blue, says, "Hey, can you get us to the United States?" And I remember getting green cards right in the mail. And we went back to Sicily to say goodbye to everybody. And we jumped on a boat called Anna Marie Quinn. And we jumped on that boat, which is a Greek ship. And we came to the United States. I think it took like 21 days to cross the ocean. Yeah. And long time ago, but in 1972, that's when the SWIFT system was just born. Long time ago.
So when you came over, you were how old? How old were you when you?
I was 8. We landed 18th of August, and I turned 9 September 9th, which is my birthday.
Okay. And you guys ended up in New Jersey right out of the bat?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So how was growing up there in New Jersey, junior, senior, high school sort of thing? What kind of guy was Mel? If I were to go back in time and peep in your window at the high school, what am I going to see Mel doing?
Let's go back to grammar school. I was going
sure.
We went to a school called St. Stanislaus Costa, which I believe might still be there in Garfield, New Jersey. And it's a Catholic school. I went there with my cousin who was born in the United States. His father owned a pizza shop literally at 1 block away from this school. Okay. And my father was in the construction business, and on weekends he would help my uncle make pizzas. That's how we got into the pizza business, so to speak. And one day, long story short, we'll make it as short as possible. Otherwise, we'll be here for like 6 hours.
Netflix special.
Yeah. One day, my uncle Phil, my father overheard my uncle Phil, who's my mom's brother, say, if we find the right buyer, I wouldn't mind selling the pizza shop. This place was a gold mine, mind you. So my father went home and told my mother that, hey, your brother's looking to sell the pizza shop. He goes, call him, tell him I'm interested. We're going to buy the shop. Then the wife got involved, his wife, Uncle Phil's wife, Catherine, and she said, no, if we're going to sell the pizza shop, we're going to sell it. If we're going to sell it to my sister, not your sister. So family feuds begin. Round one, ding, ding.
That happens. That happens with families.
So with that, because my mom, we didn't come to the United States because we were looking for a job. We were more looking to, entrepreneur, the American dream. It's like
exactly.
That's what drives us. We could have stayed in Sicily, got a job. Obviously, who knows what we would be doing. But the reality is, my mom went to one of her cousins, this guy Nino, and he had a pizza shop right on the corner of Patterson Plank Road and Park Avenue in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And him and his partner sold my mom the pizza shop, my mom and my dad. So that was the first pizza shop. So I was 11 years old at this point. It was
Middle school.
Yeah.
Or elementary school.
Yeah, I was the only one. I was the only one who spoke English at the time. So at 11 years old, I'm flipping pies, and I was dealing with lawyers. I was dealing with accountants. I was dealing with City Hall. I was dealing with insurance companies. So my father brought in his cousin, okay, which he's got the same exact name as me, and his father's father and my father's father were brothers. Okay. So this guy came in because he spoke English. He knows how to get around. He was pretty much raised in the United States from a toddler, except one problem. He was allergic to flour, so he didn't want to make pizzas. He was allergic to dish detergent, so he didn't want to wash dishes. Yeah, he would deliver pizzas, and he would sometimes pocket the money. And so, because of the Sicilian hot temper, hot blood, my father one day reached its boiling point, and about 10 months later, he said to him, "Look, you got two choices today. I'm either going to take you to the lawyer." It's not even 10 months later. It was like 8 months later. "I'm going to take you to the lawyers today, and we're going to separate as partners. Or the other option is I'm going to break your kneecaps and I'm going to drive you to the hospital." Wow. Two options, right? So he took the lawyer option. Right. And 2 months later after that, in the 10th month of the pizza shop, which was cranking, that pizza shop in today's day and standards with prices the way they are today, you're talking grossing about $22,000 to $25,000 a week. Okay. Good. Very big numbers, good numbers. Yeah. Yeah. And so anyway, long story short, the pizza shop is on fire. Okay. Yep. We suspect two. Yeah. My father's nephew. Yeah. Yeah. So long story short is that my father went to Damore Insurance Agency, East Rutherford, Damore Insurance Agency, and said, "Why didn't you call me? My pizza shop's on fire. Why didn't you guys call me?" He goes, "No." He goes, "We called your partner." He goes, "He's no longer a partner." He goes, "Oh, that's why he hung up on us." So they got suspicious, and they sent, FBI investigation, etc. But we never were able to prove that he was the one. But we're sure that he's the one that burned the pizza shop down. Right. So with that, we moved to Costa. We opened up another pizza shop right on the corner of Hackensack Avenue and Broad Street, called Bella Pizza. Probably still there today. I think it's called Master Pizza now. I think the old owner left. Right. Then from there, we opened up more pizza shops in Emerson. We opened up pizza shops in New Milford. We have pizza shops in Ramsey, New Jersey. We've had pizza shops pretty much all over the place for a long time. Right. Yeah. Right. And you're how old at this point? In my teens. I was 1977. I traveled to Sicily. As a matter of fact, when I was in Sicily, my very first time, that's when Elvis Presley died. I actually was in Sicily when Elvis Presley died in 1977. So we got the news there, and I was a big Presley fan. That was like yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to the high school thing. So what kind of guy did we see in high school from Mel? I mean, were you in the sport? Were you a sports guy? Were you in the band? Were you? I mean, no. I was a rebel. I was definitely definitely my I got into a lot of fights. I wasn't gonna take shit from anybody. My brother, I remember my brother Fortune came into school, and this guy Galuppi was breaking his balls, and he comes out of the cafeteria and he's got a lunch thing, with the cafeteria with his lunches. You bother my brother? Bah! And I just knocked his freaking teeth out, in the cafeteria. So we had problems. There were some serious problems. Got expelled from school. Another guy by the name of Jimmy Devine. These were the big bullies in the school back then. They didn't call them bullies back then. There was no terminology for them back then. in the 80s, the late 70s,
Yeah.
80s, whatever. So Jimmy and his friend turned me upside down. And this is the biggest kid in school. This is the biggest son of a bitch. It's like if you go to jail, you got to kick ass the baddest guy, and then everybody else leaves you alone. That's what I had to do. I was put in a position where, okay, they turn. You remember those chairs and desk combinations that are basically combined? They're all together.
Yes.
It's one big unit. They
Yeah,
turned me
like,
upside down, and I was in a situation where I couldn't get out, and they were kicking me.
Yeah.
So I went to Mr. Bargel, who was the wood shop teacher. Him and I got along, and I said, "This is Mr. Bargel. I need a piece of wood. This is about maybe this long." I says, "I need that for my closet to hang clothes, And I grabbed the stick and I go down to the gym, and boom, I went blasting.
You went Buford Pusser on him, walking tall. I've never seen that.
And there was two brothers. They were the high school football guys. They were the Bianco brothers. They're two twin brothers. They were the football stars. All the cheerleaders loved these guys, whatever. And they all of a sudden, they gave me the sign of approval, so to speak. Okay, you proved yourself. That's it. That's good. You're the man. That's pretty much. I mean, school to me was, I smoked my fair share of marijuana when I was in school. I was not a grade A student. I questioned everything. I realized, to me, at an early age, I didn't know why I felt like I was wasting my time, but I was wasting my time. I knew it, but I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. I think as kids, we all kind of thought, really, should we be here? But I've even talked. Yeah, I've got two boys myself, and they're older, but we've talked over the years, like the differences between school then and school now. And I told them about paddlings. We got paddlings in school, and they're like, we've never. Well, what is a paddling? So. Yeah, but I've got my fair share of paddlings. I mean, that was just a common thing back in the day.
Yeah.
So do you still hang out with those guys? Do you still have
I lost contact with everybody. Charlie Galbo, all the guys we used to hang out with. Gotcha. My friend Dewey Rubistello was a great drummer. He was in a rock band. Just lost, you move on, and especially, I'm living in another country now. It's very, very difficult. And I don't have my YouTube, I don't have my Facebook account anymore because Zuckerberg threw me off. I mean, the only contact I had with those people was that was like, 3 years ago almost, and I'm no longer there. So, and I refuse to send them my passport. They want my passport, and they want a stew sample, and they want all kinds of shit. And I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So and when you were in your prime in the high school, got a question about music. What kind of music were you into? Rock and roll, soul,
Led Zeppelin, Rush, big Rush fans. We would go to every concert that we can get. My brother is a big Rush fan. My brother, fortunately, loves Rush. He follows them pretty much everywhere. But now Neil Peart is dead, the drummer. He's got pictures taken with both Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, and Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple. I went to go see 78 or 79. You can look it up. I'm sure it lives on the internet. This is the old, which was new back then, Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. I saw Mahogany Rush. This is the open. Ready? Mahogany Rush. Little River Band. I believe right after that was Aerosmith. After Aerosmith was Ted Nugent. After Ted Nugent was Heart. And after Heart was the Eagles.
Wow.
And I'm sitting about midfield, about 20 rows up. And behind me, there's box seats. And all of a sudden, who comes out of the box seat talking to the crowd? Joe Walsh.
Oh, man.
I'm like 20 feet away from Joe Walsh, not even.
Wow.
That's crazy. Young kid. Yeah. The whole place smells like one big marijuana joint, early in the morning. We got there they let the doors open about 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. I think by 9:30, Mahogany Rush was already playing. I mean, it was like boom, boom. It was like a mini Woodstock, if you will.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like a mini Woodstock.
Yeah.
So would that have been your best concert ever?
Oh, that was memorable. That was
So
Absolutely.
what's the worst concert you ever been to?
I haven't been to any bad concerts, to be quite honest with you. We almost bought fake tickets to a Led Zeppelin event at the
Okay.
Garden, and thank goodness we didn't buy. But there was, they said if you would have bought those tickets, you would have got stuck because back, we had scam artists back then too. It's not just now because we have the internet.
Right.
They've existed since the beginning of time. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk cars. What was your first car in high school?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting story. See, I didn't get my license until I was 19, even though you
Okay.
can get your license when you're 17 in the state of New Jersey. I was
Okay.
dating this girl, Holly, and Holly was sort of teaching me how to drive.
Mhm.
Okay. And the problem is I was driving one day after sunset, and that's a big no-no. So I got pulled over and I got pulled over. I went to court, and the judge says, "Okay, your punishment is you're not going to get your license until you're 19." Okay, so I got to
You're
wait
like,
2 years. Yeah.
yeah.
So my first new car was I believe it was a Buick Regal. A
Yeah.
Buick Regal, yeah. And I was dating a girl by the name of Lorraine Calabrese out of Paramus, New Jersey. She was driving a Monte Carlo, which looked almost identical.
Oh, yeah.
And one day it snowed. This is 2 weeks after I got my license. This is March of 1983. Okay.
Right.
I'm going fast forwarding a little bit. And we got snowed in. We got like 2.5 feet of snow in March. And I was just so sick and tired of the snow. I said, Lorraine, I says, I want to go to California. She said, when? I said, now. So we shoveled out our driveway. We went to my house, picked up our shit, my shit, her shit, and we were gone. We were going to California,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when
And this was,
California was nice.
yeah. Yeah.
1983, California was beautiful,
Yes. Okay.
I
So,
love California. I said, when I got to
yeah.
California, I said, California would be nice. If there was no Californians, I think it would be better. Because everybody you meet was like a movie star. The guy that pumps your gas is a
Yeah.
screenplay writer. And the guy that's
Yeah.
the bus boy is a movie director. I'm like, yeah, what movies did you do? Oh, I'm still working on one. Yeah, okay, buddy. All right. Let me know how that works out for you. But it's amazing how everybody there was like brainwashed to be in the industry. And they were so like focused, and they would make up a bullshit story to try and impress people around them. Just very flaky people. Not all of them, obviously, but enough to make you want to say, okay, I'm definitely in Tinseltown, right?
Yes. Yes. I
Yeah.
think California will be good again though, one day, one of these days
Yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah.
So let's stay on the cars. So I just had a weird question. So knew about the old car. So like if not if, but when XRP does its thing and we go through our transformation and all that good stuff, what's going to be your dream car?
There's a couple.
Okay.
There's a couple.
Okay.
Definitely the Pagani Hyra, and as a muscle car, definitely the Shelby Cobra. Now there's 3 companies out there that make the Shelby Cobra. One of those
Okay.
three actually makes the metal version made out of
Okay.
aluminum, the original. Yeah. It's
Right.
more expensive. The price tag starts at about $119,000 and then goes, up to 180, 190, depending on, what you want in it.
Right.
But they build as close a replica to the original as exists, but it's not cheap. The other one, Factory 5, you could probably get a good one for about, $80,000, 80, 90,000. Yeah, really nice one, but it's made out of carbon fiber or fiberglass, what have you. So it's a little safer,
Gotcha.
I think, to be in metal.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So you're in California. I know eventually you went to Miami at some point.
Oh yeah. I had a bunch of pizza shops. As you know, we had one in Patterson. We had 2 in Patterson, New Jersey at that point. And again, I'm never a cold weather person. Don't like snow. I don't like
Yeah.
leaves falling off the trees. To me, that's depressing.
Right.
Looks like a cemetery. I don't like it. I'm definitely a tropical person. So I put in a bid. I put in a bid to to actually take a concession down in South Beach. So between 21st Avenue and 22nd Avenue, right on Collins, 21st and 22nd runs perpendicular, right, to Collins Avenue, right where Wolfie's is. Wolfie's was on the corner. Wolfie's was a very famous place that a guy by the name of Meyer Lansky, used to hang out on a regular basis there. As a matter of fact, there's a documentary on Netflix that the guy that actually wrote his life story was meeting with him, the guy that was going to write the book on Meyer Lansky. And it's a great movie that was on Netflix. That was I don't know how accurate it was, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, that was my beach. So when they called me, I'm going to tell you the truth. I bribed the guy who worked at City Hall. I'm not going to mention his name. And I said, look, I'll give you $1,000 when you deliver. I'll give you another 1,000. Deliver. So anyway, I put in my bid, and I was supposed to get the Wave Runners concession. I was supposed to get the chair concession, and I was supposed to get the trailer with the food and pizzas and hot dogs and smoothies and all of that stuff. And I was selling beer illegally because they never gave me my concession. I was paying for 3 things, but they only gave me 2, and I was continuously paying for months and months for the 3 things: the chairs, the trailer, and the Wave Runners. But they never gave me the Wave Runners. Then I found out somebody else was paying the same guy underneath the table to make sure that I would never get that's what happens when you sleep with dogs. You wake up with the fleas, and so I was never going to get my concession for the Wave Runners, which is where the bigger money was. So I had a nice chair operation, and so I had to hustle because I was not directly behind the hotels, so to speak. Okay. So I would literally, when people would come out of their hotels, I would just like wave them in. People like, who is this guy waving me in? And they would just come. Then what I did, I got the idea. I said, if I could put some beautiful girls, because I had a bunch of chairs, I got a multi-hundred chair operation. And I said, if I could get a couple of beautiful girls where I could just bait the chairs, sort of like clickbait, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would just get in my Ford F-150 and I would drive down the beach and I meet, beautiful women from Brazil, from France, from all over the world. And I'd say, how long are you guys in town for? Oh, we're in here. We're only here for 4 days. Good. Jump on the truck. I'm going to give you free chairs and umbrellas. I would put 3 beautiful girls here and 2 beautiful girls there. Next thing you know, the place is packed, because everybody wants to be around beautiful women. I said, listen, I'm going to give you the chairs free of charge. Don't worry about it. Right. Everything's on the house. So the places get packed. Now I'm selling beer for like $4 a can for a Budweiser. One guy said, $4 for a Budweiser. I says, no. I says, the actual beer is $2. The other $2 goes into a defense fund in case I got to go, hire an attorney.
Yes. Yes.
I'm selling it to you legally, right? And I was the only concessionaire that I would have my bottles of water, right? Cold water on ice in the cooler. And I would come around and spray you like when it's like 95 and it's like 8% humidity. And I'm coming around spraying you with some cold water. It feels great. I had people give me $50, $100 tips, like no big deal. People on vacation, they're going to let their hair loose. You know what I mean? And they're loose with their money too. So I was making really good money. Then I got pissed off at City Hall because I said, hey, you guys are charging me for 3 things, but I'm paying for 3 things, but I'm only getting 2. So I stopped paying my rent because I said, you know what? Let's see how long it takes for them to even catch up to me. I was there for 3 years, rent-free for 36 before they even caught up. And then I just sold everything cheap, but I pocketed everything. I didn't pay anybody, including Uncle Sam, because it was all cash. And I left, and that was it. That was the end of and then I got into, we opened up a Sopranos pizza shop in South Beach, right on Washington Street. That was a whole other story. My brother, who opened up a pizza shop in New Milford, who would call me every day, come on down. I was living at the Manatee building in Surfside, Florida. My first building that I lived in Surfside was the Surfside Beach Club. Then I moved over to the Manatee. And then later on, I moved down to Bal Harbor, Carlton Terrace. And then from Carlton Terrace, I went to Harbor House North. There's two harbor houses, not the one on the cut, the one before the cut, government cut. So I was living at the Manatee, and man, he would call me every day. And he'd say, come take, the pizza shop. I'll give you a contract. Well, long story short, he wore me out. I went to New Jersey, and we took over the pizza shop. At this point, I had studied a different style of pizza down in South Beach from Pizza Rustica. And it was a very different kind of pizza, very, very exotic toppings, et cetera, Roman style pizza, big slices, big trays of pizza. And so I took this pizza concept up to North Jersey, and I knew how to make pizza like everybody else, pepperoni, sausage, peppers, and so on. But, this is completely different, outside the box.
Right.
So I knew that I could learn it. And not only could I learn it, I could also even make it better. So the reality is that, when we got there, and the pizza shop was called Maria, and I said, who's Maria? Maria's Pizza. I said, this pizza shop is doing $2,000 a week in business. I mean, practically out of business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Maria happens to be one of my aunts on my father's side, who you don't even like,
Mm-hmm.
So I said,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of this name. He goes, what do you think? What do you suggest we should call it? I said, we're going to call it Sopranos. He says, you can't do that. Your HBO is going to come sue you. I'm telling you, Sopranos was like the #1 show on HBO at the time. So I got the hottest name in the world. I got the most incredible pizza style in the world, right? I got my marketing genius, which I am somewhat of a marketing genius. And all of a sudden, what happened was we changed the name because I called my attorney. I said to my brother, look, you're not an attorney. I'm not an attorney. Let me ask my attorney. So he calls me back in 20 minutes. He says, Mel, not only could I lock up the name, but I could lock up the name Sopranos Pizzeria for the entire state of New Jersey. I said, do it. Let's go. So it cost a couple of $100, locked up the name, put in this new pizza style. And I'm going to tell you right now, Tracy, there were lines outside the door. It would take people 40, 45 minutes, an hour to come get a slice of pizza. I mean, that's how, the name was hot. We even put the gun, like the logo of the gun and the Soprano name. Yeah. We went all out.
Wow.
And I believe that pizza shop is still there because he sold it to the Marino brothers, his two best friends. Long story short is that whole entire thing caused me to get a heart attack. Literally, I died for about 4 minutes. And the stress was overwhelming. They wanted to throw me out with no money. And so long story short, we settled on 25,000, which was an insult. And I went back to Florida. End of story. But I don't know if I told you the story. I might have told it in some of the, I'm not sure if I ever told the story in the videos. I don't believe I did. But the doctor who came and blew out my artery and put a stent. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Basically what happened was that at the end of, because I was watching the surgery on a little closed circuit TV thingy, right? I was under some kind of anesthesia, but not like completely, put out.
Right.
And so after the entire surgery was done, is Dr. Avancha, is an Indian doctor. He gave me some kind of shot that made me feel so happy. And I said, Doc, what kind of drug did you just shoot me up with? He said, well, why is that, Mel? I said, because I said, I'm very happy right now. He said, Mel, it was morphine. Oh, I said, morphine. That's what morphine's like. I said, Doc, could you do me a favor? He said, what is it, Mel? He goes, could you give me another shot? the entire operating room fell onto the floor laughing their ass off. I said, man, if I wasn't getting into drugs, that would be my drug of choice, morphine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man. So I go back to Florida, and I'm, basically entrepreneur all my life. I do things online. I network marketing. I'm always hustling and bustling, doing things. And
so you were how old about this time? At the time
I'm in my 30s, mid 30s, whatever. Yeah. Gotcha. 37, 38. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so now I moved to I moved to was it the name of the building? Carlton Terrace. From the Carlton Terrace, I was married to an Argentinian girl, which didn't work out so well. We moved over to the Harbor House North. We met a lot of great people there. I mean, we would have potluck parties. You would think you were coming to a wedding. A lot of people with a lot of money. Our neighbor. Right. I mean, we had our neighbor in the Carlton Terrace, which I was friends with, actually, which we went to, dinner and the beach, and him and his wife actually split up. As Darius Kasparaitis. If you know anything about hockey, you know who he is. Yeah, and Bob Dole lived in the building right next door, and I know exactly when he ran against Clinton and when he lost and all of that. He was living there. Right. So we had some really. We're talking high. You want to talk about high society? Bal Harbour, Florida, is as high society as you're going to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that near Miami? Is that near Miami?
Every year the Bal Harbour shops. The Bal Harbour shops is like equivalent to like Rodeo Drive on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You pull into the parking lot, there's like, $1 billion worth of cars. Gotcha. Yeah, that's not even a stretch.
Gotcha.
So I'm living on the beach. I'm having a great time, and just loving life, traveling. Been to a lot of the islands in the Caribbean, been to Jamaica, been to Cozumel, been everywhere, and I just love Florida. I mean, but eventually I met Amber, fast forward. Okay.
Yep.
And after, talking to Amber online for almost 4 years, she said, "Hey, buddy, you got to make a decision." She's closing the sale, right? And so because I had experience in coming to Costa Rica for dental work, because a few years back when I was living in Florida, there was a few times there that I was a little tight on the cash flow, right? So I went to go see a dentist, and the dentist said, "Oh, you need about $19,000 worth of work." I said, "Does that come with a convertible and a blonde? What do I get for that?" So long story short, I called a friend of mine. He goes, "Listen, don't worry about it. Just go to Costa Rica and they'll fix your teeth." Sure enough, the dentists here are as good as anywhere else in the entire world, if not better. As a matter of fact, my dentist actually happened to Dr. Garita. He actually studied in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the materials they use are all from Germany. All the materials, everything's all from Germany. Top notch.
Yeah, I had something similar.
Yeah, so I came here from 19,000. Yeah, from $19,000, $2,060. That was my dental bill. I stayed for 3 months. In a place called Cariati. I lived in a one-room studio. I had my bathroom, a little kitchen. I had a lady that would come and clean and cook for me breakfast and lunch, and travel expenses, party, hardy, and my bill came out to like $6,000. I was like, whoa. But, I was impressed with this country. So when I met Amber, we started to look at all the different options. Where are we going to live? And looked at Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba is down in Ecuador. A lot of centurions live down there that are, live to be over 100 years old. They don't know if it's the water, the air, all three, et cetera. And there's a lot of UFO people down there. Bill, I can't think of his name, the guy that used to work with Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot's down there as well. The only problem was the internet. The internet was, not up to speed, so to speak.
Right.
And so with that said, we had we kept coming back to Costa Rica, and say, okay, let's look at Panama. Boom. No, Panama won't work. Peru won't work. I said, okay, let's do Costa Rica. So one day I called her. This is like when she was like really at a point where, hey, you got to make a decision. And she said, listen, the only thing I could say is ticket. In other words, send me a ticket. I want to be with you. And so I bought her a ticket, But before that,
she was living in the Philippines, right?
She was living she was living in Malaysia.
Okay. Okay.
And she was making like, $1,100, $1,200 a month, not a lot of money. And the bottom line was that she's really good with computers. I caught on very quickly. I could pretty much, feel the situation very quickly. I could tell you what you're good at. And once I get to know you within literally a couple of hours. So I knew that she was very, really good with computers. I knew that Asians in general are very good with computers. They got like digital blood or something, And we were doing a campaign landed onto my lap. And what happened was we were in the energy deregulation business. We got into the energy deregulation business by complete sheer, luck, by coincidence. I was partners with my friend Joe. My friend Joe, nothing worked fast enough for him. Everything was like, had to be instant grits. And if it's not instant grits, if we can't make money today for tomorrow, we got to try something else. So one day he says, why don't we try, energy deregulation? I said, okay, let's try energy deregulation. So I put an ad on Craigslist. This one guy from California, one of the biggest call centers in California for energy deregulation, calls me. The guy's from Iran, and sharp kid, real smart guy. And so what happened was that, I met this guy through a friend of mine, Sarah Rodriguez, who's a big network marketing lady in Florida. And this guy was trying to get me into some network marketing thing. It was water from like a pool, like a swimming pool in a bottle. Right. Supposedly cures cancer and diabetes. I said, there's no way I could ever sell that. If I can't drink it, if I can't be a product of the product, I'm not selling it. So anyway, this guy, David Reeder, I never talked to him anymore until maybe a few weeks later. He called me. He says, by any chance, now I already had met this guy in California who has the call center that sells energy deregulation. He calls me, and there's a company called Independence Energy Alliance, a multi-level marketing company, right? A multi-level marketing company that if you bring in customers, the more customers you bring in, it triggers the next bonus and the next bonus and the next bonus. These guys are making some serious money. Well, the word got out pretty quick that I was a great facilitator of customers, right? So I told Amber, look, if you can handle the books and handle all the technology bullshit, which gives me a headache, I said, I'll handle everything else. I said, I'll give you 20% of what I make. She's living still in Malaysia. Okay. So anyway, we go to work. Next thing you know, it's like, a few days go by because this guy is an animal. I'm having people that are in this network marketing company. One of the friends that I always say, I'm not allowed to really mention his name, who's a multi-billionaire, who does other things that are even more lucrative than network marketing that I mentioned a few times. Right. He was one of my best customers. His team and most of his team and himself, whatever, would deposit something in the neighborhood of about $100,000 to $125,000 a day into my bank account with an email saying, okay, I need this many customers under Lisa. I need this many customers under Joe, and so on. And then I would send that money over to the guy in California who would fulfill the order. I would keep my little piece, which was not too bad. Okay. When you're keeping 10% of $120,000 and you're getting a deposit every single day of $100,000 to $125,000, that's a lot of money. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I got to give Amber some money, and I sent her several $1,000s. I won't mention the exact number. It was quite a bit of money. And I'm looking at her on Skype, and she's on camera, and she's in her room, and she's literally bouncing off the fucking walls. She's running back and forth. I can't believe you sent me that much money. I'm like, you earned it. I told you I was going to pay you. I'm paying you, So she realized early on, okay, this guy is not only good looking, he knows how to make money. So, exactly. There was an attraction there on many different levels. It wasn't just one-sided, and that's how it all started. And that's how we came to Costa Rica. I got here about 3 weeks earlier than she did. I rented a place about 5,000 feet above sea level. And I had the entire 180-degree view of San Jose at nighttime. Wow. It's spectacular because we have a billion light show, literally. I got my bride to be is coming. I got to impress her. You know what I mean? It's exactly the Italian macho in me, but it was a pretty impressive place. Then with that, we stayed there for about 8 months or so. But we're having problems with the landlord, a Christian guy who claimed to be Christian. What a joke. He actually was a pedophile. Long story short. Yeah. He was a pedophile. He actually built a house for this girl that was born with one leg. Him and his buddies, gross, but they actually bought her a leg and bought her family a home. But they were taking this girl to different places to do some crazy shit with her. Anyway, him and I didn't get along too well.
Right.
And the problem was that he rented me a house that was all inclusive for $1,100. There was internet, water, everything is included, but he controlled everything.
Mm.
So the rule was that, on the internet, all the rumors and stuff about him were all real, that he would never, return the deposit. And I said, look, when you give me the deposit, I'll leave. So long story short is he sends the cops over my house one day. I'm only there like maybe 4 months, not even 4.5 months. And the cops knocking on my door. I got a marijuana plant growing about maybe 20 feet from where the cops knocked on the door. My ass is not touching. I'm like, here I go. I'm going to go to, I'm thinking I'm going to go to a prison in Costa Rica, some Costa Rican prison, which is not fun. They
Right.
put 300 people in a 10 by 10 cell. It's disgusting. So, yeah. And so, long story short, he was calling the cops on me 3-4 times a day. I was calling the cops on him 5-6 times a day. The cops are always at our house. And one day I'm sitting at the bus stop. I didn't even have a car yet. I'm brand new in the country. And the cops all know me by now. So I'm sitting by the bus stop and the cop pulls up. He goes, Don Mel, come over here. I said, what can I help you with? He goes, listen, he goes, in Costa Rica, there's no laws. Okay. The laws are made for the criminals. Because he had, at this point, disconnected my electricity, my internet, my water. I couldn't do nothing. I'm under the control of this guy and I got a lease with him, right?
Right. Right.
So you go home and you tell him, because the cops knew the stories. I had called the cops that day. You go home and you tell him you got a baseball bat and you're going to start smashing all the windows. You either going to put the shit back on. So I followed the whatever protocol the cops are telling me to do. I'm following exactly. Goes, yell to the top of your lungs, scare the shit out. Because don't worry about it. Even if we come to arrest you, he goes, don't be afraid. Because by the time we get done with the paperwork, he goes, you'll be home, okay, hanging out with your wife. So that's what I did. So one day, because I was washing the clothes, right? This guy, I can't think of this guy's name, but anyway, I'm washing the clothes in his little laundry facility area. And he would take the girl that I told you was born with one leg, and he would take her down to Costa, which is a beach down past Jaco Beach, which is like 2 hours away. So long story short, his staff, his people were very nice. The people that said, hey, listen, John, John is not here. Don John is not here. If you want to wash your clothes, go ahead and wash your clothes. So I go to wash my clothes and lo and behold, they have a lock right on the thing. The same exact lock I have, a master lock, same size, same blue strip, identical. So I go home, I take my lock and I switch him out. I took his lock and I threw it down the mountain. So he gets back home the next day and they want to go wash clothes. And we got the window open, Amber and I, and all of a sudden, holy shit, he goes, what happened? He goes, well, Don Mel washed the clothes. He goes, he must have switched out the lock. It was like we scored a touchdown. It's like I'm at war with this guy, right? So Finally he turns everything back on, the internet, everything. So one day, what happened was, because, if you mess with a Sicilian, you're making a big mistake. You're making a big mistake. We're going to figure out 100 ways to get back at you. Okay. We're pretty predictive that way. So, he wasn't going to give me my deposit back. So I said, I'm going to stay that extra month. I'm not going to pay my rent. I get my deposit back that way. But 2 months prior, what I did is I went out and bought 100-watt light bulbs. And I put them all in the house and I lit up the house like a Christmas tree. His lawyer calls me. He goes, listen, Mel, what's going on? He goes, John's electric bill went up by $600. Another touchdown, right? So anyway, you want to get at me, I'm going to get at you, right? So anyway, long story short, my friend said, why did you buy 100-watt light bulbs? I says, because I couldn't find 500-watt light bulbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. This guy was a douchebag. So with that, we moved to Lake Arenal, which is where the volcano is. It's very famous. And we stayed there for about 7 months or so. The problem with Lake Arenal, it's beautiful, but it rains too much. We had a nice house with a built-in pool, 1/4-acre land, beautiful place. Okay. But anyway, one day we saw an ad, which is the town I live in right now, Grecia, and we saw an ad for nice apartment, blah blah blah, $500 a month, really nice place, all completely remodeled. when we got here, because we were so tired of the rain and it was blazing sun out, I said, "Oh, this is great." We just gave her the money so fast, and we just moved in
Yeah,
right away. And we've been
I
living here
got
ever
you.
since.
Okay.
Now you were talking about cars. Another car that I built here. I built a pretty expensive dune buggy of sort,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that I want to do is probably build another dune buggy when I get to Miami. That's one thing
I think I've seen part of that dune buggy in one of your videos with the pizza shop.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So we're in
So
the
you
middle
so
of an
you
engine rebuild on that one.
okay. So I know you've traveled. You said you traveled over the world, met all kind of crazy people, famous people, whatever. So who's the
Uh,
most famous person you ever met?
Eddie Murphy, Joe Piscopo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At a studio. What is it? No, it was right around the corner from the Cat Club. It will come to me. It's a long time. It's been, decades.
Is that New
Joe
Jersey or New York
Piscopo.
or?
No, New York, New York, New York.
Okay.
I can't think. It
Okay.
was a very big club. It was a club. There was a club inside the club. That's how big it is.
Okay.
Palladium. That's it. The Palladium. The
And
Palladium.
he was doing a show. He was doing comedy or?
Oh no, they
Eddie?
weren't. They were there just leisure.
Okay.
They were
Okay.
there leisure, yeah. There's
I got you.
a VIP nightclub inside the nightclub. It's a huge place. I mean, when it's packed, this place would hold 10,000 people.
Yeah. And you said that was like 83?
Oh no, this is we're going back. Let's see, I'll tell you right now. My friend, this is during my friend Eddie Vega, who was on Star Search. He won the dance competition. Eddie Vega back in the, I think, late 80s, like 89,
Okay.
in that range. Yeah.
Gotcha. So
We're
he had it. Yeah. Because he had went through a spurt or whatever of just,
yeah.
Eddie Murphy, just comedy, movie.
Yeah, but I'm
He,
not the kind of guy that gets starstruck. I don't ask for
yeah.
autographs. They hate when you do that anyway, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
respect you. And to be quite honest with you, they bought me a drink. I bought them a drink. They hung out for maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, and they were gone. Cool guys. They
Very
weren't,
cool.
high on their horse, that kind of thing. Let's see. I almost ran over J-Lo in Miami, right where my beach concession was. I was with my friend Sean. I'm
Yeah.
driving a brand new Beetle Bug at that time. And I'm driving, and there's photographers walking backwards, and they're coming out of a club called Club 21. And they're crossing the street. There's like 9 photographers walking backwards. And I hit the gas, and I almost hit J-Lo and Mark Anthony at the time. And my friend said, I said, "Who was that? Like, who was taking pictures? Because you almost killed J-Lo and Mark Anthony." He said.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
That would have been in the news.
That would have been in the news. That would have been 7
Yes.
o'clock news for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're out of your travels. You said you've traveled a lot. What's your favorite destination
Oh,
spot?
I love Asia. I love Italy. I love Cozumel. I love Jamaica, Antigua, Cayman Islands. I did a cruise. My very first cruise. This was back when the internet was just barely getting started, and so I went on a singles cruise, and I did a room share program, and the guy that ended up sharing a room with me is a guy from a very rich neighborhood in Bronx. I can't think of the name of it, but there's a specific town that's very, very wealthy, and his name is Mel. So Mel and Mel,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know. And so we did that. We did the Eastern Caribbean. We did the Western Caribbean. I did a bunch of those. But the reality is that this guy here and we hit it off immediately. And we're young, we're party animals. And
Yeah.
the singles tour guide, the name of this person was Jamie. And bro, I'm like, Jamie, I bet you she's got big titties and she's knockout. And all of a sudden, someone knocks on the door. Yes, who is it? It's Jamie. Jamie was the guy who was there.
Oh man. They're like, oh crap.
We had a blast. That was an incredible trip. Asia. I lived in Malaysia for 3 months in an area called Kota Kinabalu,
Okay.
which is the third largest island 2/3 of it is actually Indonesia, and 1/3 of it is Malaysia. Malaysia is two continents. There's one by Thailand. I mean, if you're driving down south from Thailand, you're going to go into Malaysia, and
Right.
you know, yeah. I met at the time my girlfriend also through the internet, Chinese girl. You know, I've always liked Asian flavor. I've been to into the Asian flavor for quite some time. So we pretty much hit it off, but she wanted me to just drop everything and just, be with her. Funny story is, like, when I was living in Bella Vista here, and I was already married to Amber, I get a call one day and I get this little cute voice. Hi, Mel. I'm like, who the hell is this? So anyway, I called the number back because it was a 305 number, right? Florida number.
Yeah.
I called back.
Yeah.
Hi, Mel, it's Fiona. I said, Fiona, I'm married.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she was a very spoiled little rich girl. She came from big Chinese money. Her father was not always rich. He became pretty rich. I don't know what he
Right.
did. Got into the Communist Party, whatever, but he definitely climbed up the ladder. She, anybody who studies abroad that's from China usually has got money. And she was studying in Malaysia, and she had her own nice, beautiful apartment, etc. So yeah, it was nice. And I stayed there for a total of 3 months. We traveled extensively, ate three squares out. We did all the excursions. There was an island that was featured on one of the shows that there was actually some terrorists that, picked up some tourists a long time ago. I forget the name of the show, but there's actual, Muslim extremists that went to this island. There was an actual documentary on TV. I'm like, holy shit, that's the island me and Fiona went to. Like,
oh, Lord.
Lord. But the people there are very nice. Malaysia, most of the people there are not Muslim extremists. Obviously, they wear their garb, their hijab, whatever, but they're very nice. But they like to stare. I'm like, why are they staring? She's like, you're a little bigger than they are, and they know you're not from around here, But I used to remember we used to go out for breakfast in the morning and eat something called roti chani. It was like Indian, like some kind of dough that these guys would flip on this thing, and then they would put it on a grill and put some kind of marmalade. It was delicious, and butter, and I'd have that with a little bit of coffee, and I was good to go. Yeah.
All right.
Great culture.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate all the answers to the questions and just taking us down your little timeline there in your life. So I guess the last question would be, where did crypto come into play in all of your life? Well, 2 years ago, 5 years ago?
No, really, if you want to get technical and we got involved with a company called OneCoin, which was a multi-level marketing scam, unfortunately. And if you want to take that into account and count that as a bad experience, it's 7 years. And obviously we lost about 1,600 euros, no biggie. It's, the lesson of life, it's the school of hard knocks.
Right.
Then we had gone back to the States because I knew that, this crash that we're going through right now, it's a slow motion crash, but we're going through a crash, was imminent. And so I got in touch with a gentleman here in Escazú, where I had that beautiful place where I told you I had a 180-degree view. And this is Escazú is like the Beverly Hills of this part of Costa Rica. There's a few Beverly Hills and there's a few, Malibus, if you will, here in Costa Rica. There's a few areas that are very, very rich. So I called this guy and met him through the internet on Craigslist. And I said, look, I want to talk to you in person. So I needed to know how to bring in silver. He said, look, if you're going to bring in silver, when you get through the airport, they're going to ask you, what is this? And the only thing you're allowed to say is that this is your coin collection. Do not volunteer anything else. This is my coin collection. Do not say anything else. Sure enough, they say, open up. What is this? My coin collection. Boom, straight through, no problems. Obviously, it was a hell of a lot more than 10,000. And so it was 120 pounds worth of silver.
Right.
That I had in a carry-on. This thing was so heavy that I put it in the overhead compartment. It took the whole thing. It was like a big box, like inside that carry-on. I thought the whole entire compartment was going to come breaking on down. That's how heavy these things
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
So long story short, it was like a slow boat to China. It wasn't going anywhere. So that's how we got into cryptos. We actually called him, and I think we bought it for like $15.46 an ounce, and we sold it for $16.12 an ounce. So he was like, okay, we're gonna get rich when we're 900 years old if we get to a med bed, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so long story short, I called the same guy that told me how to bring it in, and he's the guy that bought it at market value. Whatever the market spec value was that day, he gave me, didn't even haggle, nothing. And with that money, we got into cryptos. That's how we started. Yeah,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Gotcha. All right. One more question and we're gonna close it because I know you want to keep this thing kind of short.
Yeah.
So just let's just go here. What is one interesting thing that we would never know about Mel? Just some, what have you done, a sport, interest, or just something that we would never know about?
I was always entrepreneur mind, and I never really held a lot of jobs. I would get fired from most. The only job that I was able to hold was a job at Copy World in Lodi, New Jersey. It was a print shop. The guy who owned it, Frank, was a gangster. He didn't care what I did. He just said, listen, I'll pay you $600 a week, plus you get commissions, do whatever you want, come to work whatever you want, doesn't matter. He basically told me, this is a front. Okay. This is not my business. Okay. It's my business so that the FBI sort of stays off my back. And, that was one of my favorite jobs. But when I was growing up, I still in Saddlebrook today, till today, we hold the record for having the biggest parties ever. Yeah. And, I'm talking parties with 600, 700, 800 people. We had a big parcel of land, a house with a swimming pool, the whole nine yards. And because my friend Eddie Vega, remember I told you Eddie Vega, who won $100,000 on Star Search back in the late 80s, Eddie was connected with all the, he was like a local celebrity in New York, New Jersey, and so on. Everybody knew who he was. And so we threw a party. We had a DJ from the Fun House. This is like, when I started getting the idea, I said, hey, this is a great way to make money, So we would buy like a bunch of kegs of beer. We would go over to the Howard Johnson's, which is like, 200 yards from my house, steal all the ice out of the, each floor had 2 ice machines. We would empty them out. We'd have all these big garbage pails, and we'd have like, all the beer you could drink for, $10, whatever, $15. And we'd have, a bunch of people come in our house, hundreds of people. So we were making good money. Okay. Yes. And so I got the idea of, parlaying that over into promoting nightclubs, because now I had the database. And I took a kid that became actually a very famous DJ at one point, Johnny Buzz, with a two Z's, B-U-Z-Z. Johnny Buzz was the DJ for, WPLJ in New York.
Okay.
A big radio station.
Wow.
The #1 radio station. I took him out of the basement, and I utilized him and all the connections I had to start building. So one day I went to a club in Lodi, New Jersey, and the name of the club was called Brook Ends. It was owned by John Baldino, another guy by the name of Biggie, a bunch of lawyer/wise guys, And I got there on a Saturday, and the place is empty, but gorgeous. The place, they put a lot of money into this place. I'm talking, this was a high-end VIP joint all the way.
Right.
The only problem is it's Saturday and it's 11:30 at night and there ain't nobody there. They got a DJ, they got a nice dance floor, they got all these different sections, VIPs and all that. Restaurant, beautiful place. It's 5 stars. For as far as decoration, atmosphere, 5 stars. So I approached the guy. I said, listen, I want to take over your nightclub, but I'm taking the door. And then when he got winter, I said, I'm taking the coat check also. So we packed the joint. It went from 0 to like 1,500 people like that from one week to the next. I bought my DJ, Johnny Buzz. I called my 10 people. It was like network marketing. I called my 10 people. They called 10 people each. They called 10 people each. The next thing you know, Mel's having a party. Let's go.
Wow.
Right. So I parlayed over that experience that I had in my house with, just having parties and selling people beers and making, $5,000-6,000 in one weekend. I'm saying,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go get a job making $5,000-6,000 a week. This is better than having a job. So I took that crowd and moved it over to a nightclub, and I became like sort of a nightclub impresario, if you will, a nightclub promoter. And I did that for a while. That's one of the things a lot of people don't know about me. I have a knack for being able to do incredible marketing, and some people may call me a genius. I don't know if I'm a genius or not, but I do come up with some pretty wild ideas on what to do for promotion. Like when we took over the pizza shop in South Beach, I'll give you an example. I'm sort of going back and forth in time. Okay.
That's okay. That's all right.
I was working for that pizza shop that I learned the pizza style, Pizza Rustica, which is on the corner of 9th and Washington. And, South Beach, you can have 100 pizza shops, 80 million people a year visit South Beach. There's enough room for everybody to make money, right? So I had a great opportunity, like 3 blocks away from the guy that I learned how to make the pizza, which he had me sign a non-disclosure. I said one day, because he kept chasing me. I said, okay, I'll sign it. And I just scribbled on it. So get the hell out of here, right?
Yeah.
So we opened up this pizza shop over there in South Beach. And so what happened was Pino, my boss, wanted to sue me. He said, oh, you signed my non-disclosure. That's my pizza. The reality is, and we're going to close it with this. This is going to be a little bit, maybe another 10 minutes or so, but it's a story worth telling because it's entertaining. He was going to open up a regular, ordinary pizza shop, just like every other Joe Blow out there. The stroke of luck or genius, whatever you want to call it, is that some guy from Argentina, which he was Italian, but he was born and raised in Argentina. This guy Pino from Pizza Rustica. Some guy from Argentina comes into his pizza shop, bored out of his mind, multi-millionaire guy. He's got a bunch of these pizzas with these exotic styles of pizzas down in Argentina. And he got to liking Pino because I'm going to teach you how to make this style of pizza. So somebody taught him how to make the style of pizza, which existed in Rome and Venice and Florence for hundreds of years.
Right.
So when I opened up Soprano's Pizza Shop down in South Beach, right, what happened was that Pino actually had his lawyer call me. True story. He said, look, you signed this non-disclosure. You can't do that. I said, listen, you're an attorney. I said, you know anything about pizza? He said, no. I said, I was making pizza since I was 11 years old. I happen to know a little bit about pizza. I said, this pizza was invented in Rome 100 plus years ago. I said, this pizza has been around before Pino was even a thought in his father's balls. Okay?
Right.
Says, if you want to sue me, I'm going to welcome you to sue me, but I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to embarrass you. I said, I'm going to take you to court. I said, you're going to take me to court. I'm going to take you. You can come with your attorney, whatever. I'm going to come alone, and I'm going to destroy you in a court of law. I'm going to prove to the judge that this pizza exists everywhere, and Pino does not have the exclusive rights to Roman style pizza, regardless of what he thinks. Right? So long story short, didn't hear anything else, but I'm new. I need promotion. I called the New Times newspaper, and I told them about the story. I said, maybe this is a story you guys might want to print. Sure enough, we end up front page, okay? 480,000 homes in Dade County and Broward County and Palm Beach County. And my pizza shop was on the map in seconds. The day that story got printed, it was good night, Irene.
Wow.
So I took that disadvantage and turned it into, then I took that style of pizza and I created my own recipes that he didn't even have. And then he was coming to me and copying my recipes and putting them in his pizza. You know? So yeah, it's a wild story, but yeah, man. That was, this is what I've done my entire life. I've been a hustler. Life is challenging. As you know. We're not part of the elite crew, so you have to hustle and bustle to make it. I moved to a different country, been here for 10 years, thriving, traveling everywhere, been to Panama. Okay. I know more about Costa Rica than the average person that lives here or the average person that was born here. I've seen just about every beach there is to see, Beautiful
Well,
country, tremendous potential.
we appreciate everything you're doing for your community. You know,
Well,
you're doing a lot, and I know you say I'm not here for the popular party or make friends or enemies or whatever, but you are doing a lot of good stuff for us, and you're doing a lot of good for the newbies, you know, that don't know how to get into crypto and don't know how to do this or that. So thank you
yeah.
for what you're doing.
Well, I
We
don't really
appreciate
know that much. It's my wife that's
you
really
do. You do.
she's the magic
You do.
behind the man. You know,
Yeah.
I know enough to be dangerous, but it's really
Yeah.
mostly her. When it comes to the technical stuff, it's like I
Yeah.
got, hey, Amber. They want to know how you buy this one, and they live
Yeah.
in New York. Oh, they want to know how to buy this one, and they live in Los Angeles. She's got like a cheat sheet, I think, of
Yeah.
everything. You
But
know.
you guys are two, so that's two.
Oh,
You know,
believe me, I
because
wish I
you
could.
yeah.
I wish I could clone myself and her, like, 5 times each, where there's 5 of me
Right.
and 5 of her, because that's how much work I got on my table. Believe me.
Right.
Oh.
Well, we do appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Thank you, brother.
Really good. You want to close it out with any
No, just
comments? Or?
guys, if you want to learn how to buy cryptocurrency, down below, we give you a quantum financial systems manual free of charge. I know this is more about my life story, a very small version of my life story, because we would be here for weeks. It would be like, episode 16 and season 2, 3, and 4, right? But if you want to learn how to buy cryptos, we have a Telegram group that you can join down below. We have incredible patriots in the room. And as long as you're patient, they'll teach you how to, buy this stuff. And, we're right now in the transition of the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world. You're either going to be in or you're going to read about it. One of those two is a definite. So there you go. Thank you, brother.
Very cool. Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
We'll talk
All right.
soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.